What's behind the 2000 Trump tariff check headlines? If you've seen headlines or videos talking about a 2000 Trump tariff check, you're not alone. Millions of seniors are asking the same questions right now. Is this payment real? Has it been approved? And does it apply to retirees living on Social Security or fixed income? Those are reasonable questions, especially when prices for food, utilities, and healthcare continue to rise, and every extra dollar matters. But before anyone plans around this money, it's important to slow things down and separate what is confirmed from what is still being discussed. Right now, there is no automatic $2,000 check being sent out. There is no payment date, no application process, and no guarantee that every American or every senior would qualify. What does exist is a proposal and public discussion around the idea of using tariff revenue to fund a one-time payment, sometimes described as a dividend. That proposal has generated attention, but it has not yet become law. This matters because many seniors have been misled by headlines that make it sound immediate or guaranteed. In this video, we'll walk through exactly what has been confirmed, who might qualify if something is approved, and, most importantly, what seniors should do right now while waiting for official decisions. No hype, no pressure, just clear, steady guidance. What is actually confirmed and what is not. Let's start with what is confirmed, because this is where many headlines become misleading. As of right now, there is no approved $2,000 check being sent out to seniors or to the general public. There is no signed law, no official payment schedule, and no instructions from the government telling people to apply. That part is clear. What is confirmed is that there has been public discussion and political messaging around the idea of using tariff revenue to fund a one-time payment, sometimes referred to as a dividend. This idea has been discussed in speeches, interviews, and policy conversations. It is not secret and it is not made up, but discussion does not equal approval. At this stage, the idea exists as a proposal, not a program. That means no money has been allocated, no eligibility rules have been finalized, and no agency has been instructed to issue payments. This distinction matters, especially for seniors on fixed income, because planning around unapproved money can lead to real financial stress. So when you hear confirmed, understand what that word really means here. The discussion is confirmed. The payment is not. In the next part, we'll talk about why tariff revenue is even being mentioned and how this idea is being framed politically. Why tariff revenue is even being mentioned. To understand where this $2,000 tariff check idea comes from, we need to talk briefly about tariffs and why they're back in the conversation. Tariffs are taxes placed on imported goods. When tariffs are collected, that money goes to the U.S. Treasury. In recent discussions, there has been renewed attention on using tariff revenue as a source of government funds, especially in the context of protecting domestic industries and reducing reliance on foreign imports. The idea being discussed is this: if tariff revenue increases, could a portion of that money be returned directly to Americans in the form of a one-time payment? That's where the term tariff dividend comes from. Politically, this idea is being framed as a way to offset higher consumer costs, share revenue with the public, and provide relief without increasing traditional taxes. For seniors, this sounds appealing, especially for those living on Social Security or fixed income. But it's important to understand that tariff revenue is not automatically earmarked for direct payments. Any use of that money would still require congressional approval, clear legislation, defined eligibility rules. Right now, none of those steps have been completed. So when tariffs are mentioned in connection with a $2,000 check, it reflects an idea under discussion, not a funded program. In the next part, we'll talk about why seniors are being mentioned so often in these conversations and who might realistically qualify if anything were approved. Why seniors are being mentioned and who might qualify. One reason this $2,000 tariff check idea has gained so much attention is because seniors are often mentioned in the conversation. That does not mean seniors are automatically approved or guaranteed anything, but it explains why retirees are hearing about it more than other groups. Politically, seniors are often highlighted because many live on fixed income, rising prices hit them harder, and Social Security alone may not keep up with costs. So when policymakers talk about relief payments, seniors are frequently referenced as a group that could benefit. However, here's the important reality. If any tariff-funded payment were ever approved, eligibility would still need to be defined. Historically, one-time payments have used criteria such as income limits, tax filing status, social security or retirement status, or a combination of factors that means not every senior would automatically qualify, and the amount might not be the same for everyone. There is also no confirmation that the payment would be limited to seniors. It could apply to broader income groups, or it could be structured differently altogether. Right now, there are no finalized rules, no application instructions, and no official eligibility list. That's why it's so important not to assume qualification based on headlines alone. In the next part, we'll talk about why so many videos and posts make this sound immediate and how to spot exaggeration versus real updates. Why these headlines sound so urgent and why you should slow down at this point. Many seniors ask a very fair question. If nothing is approved yet, why do so many headlines make this sound urgent or immediate? The answer is simple and important to understand. Online videos, social media posts, and some news outlets often use speculative language to grab attention. Phrases like confirmed, checks coming, or payments arriving soon generate clicks, even when the underlying information is incomplete. In many cases, these headlines are built around political statements, early-stage proposals, or public discussions, not finalized policy that doesn't make the topic fake, but it does make the timeline very uncertain. For seniors on fixed income, this kind of presentation can be misleading. It creates the impression that action is required right now or that money is already on the way. In reality, no government agency has issued instructions, no payment portal exists, and no deadline has been announced. That's a key signal. When a real payment program is approved, the process is slow, structured, and clearly communicated through official channels. So when you see urgency without details, that's a reason to pause, not to panic. In the next part, we'll talk about what seniors should and should not do right now while waiting for official confirmation. What seniors should and should not do right now. With so much talk about a possible $2,000 tariff check, many seniors feel pressure to do something immediately. But right now, the most important thing is knowing what not to do, just as much as what to do. First, here's what you should not do. Do not apply anywhere claiming to sign you up for a tariff check. There is no application process. Any website asking for personal or banking information is not legitimate. Do not change your financial plans based on this money. Until something is officially approved, this payment should not be counted on for rent, medical bills, or daily expenses. And do not assume silence means you missed something. If a real payment were approved, it would be announced clearly and publicly. Now, here's what you should do. Stay informed, but rely on official sources. That means watching for announcements from Congress, the Treasury, or Social Security, not social media rumors. Make sure your personal records are current, especially your mailing address and banking information with Social Security. This is simply good practice, regardless of any new payment. Most importantly, stay patient. At this stage, waiting is not inaction, it's the correct response. In the next part, we'll talk about how scammers are using the tariff check idea to target seniors and how to protect yourself. How scammers are using the 2000 tariff check to target seniors. Whenever there is talk of government payments, scammers move fast. And right now, the idea of a 2000 tariff check is being used as a tool to target seniors, especially those living on fixed income. Scammers know that many retirees are hopeful for extra relief. They also know that confusion creates vulnerability. Here's what that often looks like. You may receive phone calls, emails, text messages, or even social media ads claiming you qualify for a $2,000 tariff payment. You need to verify your Social Security or bank information, or you must act immediately or lose your eligibility. Some of these messages may sound official. They may mention tariffs, Social Security, or even specific dollar amounts to sound convincing. Here is the most important thing to remember. There is no official application for a tariff check. That means no government agency is calling to sign you up. No website can register you early, and no payment requires upfront information or fees. If someone asks for your Social Security number, bank account, or payment details in connection with this idea, that is a scam. Legitimate government payments are announced publicly, processed automatically, and explained clearly through official channels. Protecting yourself right now means doing one simple thing. Do nothing unless information comes from a trusted official source. In the next part, we'll talk about what would have to happen for a tariff check to become real and how long that process would realistically take. What would have to happen for a $2,000 tariff check to become real? To understand where things stand right now, it helps to know what would actually have to happen for a $2,000 tariff check to become real. This is important because it explains why nothing has happened yet and why patience matters. First, there would need to be formal legislation. That means a bill would have to be written, introduced, debated, and approved by Congress. This step alone can take weeks or months, sometimes longer. Second, that legislation would need to clearly define the program. Lawmakers would have to decide who qualifies, how much each person would receive, whether income limits apply, and which government agency would handle the payments. Third, once approved, funding would have to be officially allocated. Even if tariff revenue is mentioned as the source, the money must be legally directed to a payment program. Fourth, a federal agency, likely the Treasury or IRS, would need time to set up distribution, update systems, and issue public guidance. That includes explaining whether payments are automatic, how people are notified, and when money would realistically be sent. None of these steps have happened yet. That's why any claim that checks are on the way right now is inaccurate. Understanding this process helps seniors stay grounded and avoid false expectations. In the next part, we'll talk about realistic timelines and why these things never happen overnight. Realistic timelines. Why these payments never happen quickly. One of the biggest sources of confusion around the $2,000 tariff check is timing. Many headlines make it sound like money could arrive within weeks or even days. That simply isn't how government payments work. Historically, when Congress approves any type of direct payment, the process is slow and deliberate. Even after a bill is passed, there is usually a long gap between approval and money actually reaching people's bank accounts. Why? Because federal agencies need time to interpret the law, write official guidance, update payment systems, and coordinate with banks and tax records. During that time, the government communicates clearly. There are press releases, official websites, and detailed explanations. None of that is happening yet for a tariff-based payment. That's an important signal. If something were truly moving forward, seniors would not have to rely on rumors, speculation, or YouTube headlines to learn about it. They would hear it directly from official sources. For retirees on fixed income, understanding this timeline matters. It prevents disappointment and protects against planning around money that may not arrive or may never arrive. So when you hear checks coming soon, pause and ask, has Congress acted? Has funding been approved? Has an agency announced a schedule? If the answer is no, then waiting is the correct response. In the next part, we'll talk about how this uncertainty affects seniors emotionally and why staying grounded matters right now. Why this uncertainty affects seniors more than most people realize. For many seniors, the conversation around a possible $2,000 tariff check isn't just political or financial, it's personal. When you're living on fixed income, uncertainty carries weight. Every dollar already has a purpose. Every month is carefully planned, and unexpected news, even hopeful news, can create emotional strain. For someone still working, a payment that may or may not happen feels distant. For a retiree, it can feel immediate. That's why headlines about checks coming can trigger anxiety even when nothing has been approved. Hope and worry often arrive together. Seniors may start asking themselves, should I delay a bill? Should I wait on a medical expense? Should I count on this money just in case? This is exactly why clarity matters so much. Planning around uncertain money can be risky. If a payment never arrives, the stress that follows is far worse than the temporary relief of hope. That doesn't mean seniors shouldn't pay attention. It means they should stay grounded in what is confirmed, not what is speculated. Right now, patience protects your stability. In the next part, we'll talk about what seniors should focus on financially while waiting, and how to protect their peace of mind during this period of uncertainty. What seniors should focus on financially right now. While there is uncertainty around a possible tariff check, the most important thing for seniors is to stay focused on what they can control right now. And that starts with protecting your current financial stability. First, do not plan your budget around unapproved money. Until something is officially passed and announced, this potential payment should be treated as non-existent for planning purposes. Rent, utilities, groceries, and medical expenses should continue to be managed based on the income you already receive. Second, Review your current benefits and expenses. Take a clear look at your Social Security income, pension, if you have one, and monthly bills. Knowing exactly where you stand reduces anxiety and prevents impulsive decisions driven by headlines. Third, avoid delaying essential expenses. Waiting on medical care, prescriptions, or necessary home expenses because you're hoping for extra money can create bigger problems later. Stability matters more than speculation. Fourth, keep your information up to date. Make sure your mailing address and direct deposit details are current with Social Security. This is good practice regardless of whether any new payment is ever approved. And finally, protect your peace of mind. Uncertainty is easier to handle when your foundation is solid. Right now, your best financial move is staying grounded in what is real and reliable. In the next part, we'll talk about how seniors should think about future announcements and how to recognize when something becomes official. How to know when a payment becomes official and when it does not. One of the most important skills seniors can have right now is knowing how to tell the difference between talk and action. In Washington, many ideas are discussed publicly. Some turn into law, many do not. So how will you know when a $2,000 tariff check or any similar payment actually becomes real? First, official action always comes before official money. That means you will hear about a bill being passed, funding being approved, and a federal agency being assigned to handle payments. Without those steps, no payment can legally be issued. Second, official announcements come from official sources. Real programs are announced through government press releases, congressional statements after votes, Treasury, IRS, or Social Security updates. They are not launched through random videos, ads, or phone calls. Third, clear details always follow approval. When a payment is real, you'll see eligibility rules, payment amounts, whether payments are automatic, and a realistic timeline. None of that information exists yet for a tariff check. That's your confirmation that this remains discussion, not distribution. For seniors, this clarity matters. It prevents false hope, protects against scams, and keeps financial planning grounded in reality. In the next part, we'll talk about what seniors should ignore completely, even if it sounds convincing or urgent. What seniors should ignore, even if it sounds convincing. As discussion around a possible $2,000 tariff check continues, there are certain messages seniors should completely ignore, no matter how convincing they may sound. First, ignore anything that claims you must act immediately. Urgency is a red flag. Real government payments do not come with sudden deadlines, countdowns, or threats of losing eligibility if you don't respond right away. Second, ignore claims that you need to sign up or pre-register. There is no official application, no early access list, and no form that guarantees payment. Any website or person offering registration is not legitimate. Third, ignore messages that ask for personal or banking information. No government agency will ask for your Social Security number, bank account, or payment details through a phone call, text, email, or social media message related to this idea. Fourth, ignore headlines that use vague language without details. Phrases like confirmed, checks coming, or approved behind the scenes mean nothing without clear proof of legislation, funding, and official guidance. And finally, ignore pressure to change your financial behavior based on speculation. Delaying bills, skipping essentials, or counting on unapproved money creates unnecessary risk. Right now, doing less is often the safest choice. In the next part, we'll bring everything together and talk about what seniors should realistically expect going forward and how to stay steady while this topic continues to circulate. What seniors should realistically expect going forward. As we look ahead, it's important for seniors to set realistic expectations about what may or may not happen next, with the idea of a $2,000 tariff check. Right now, the most realistic expectation is continued discussion, not immediate action. Political ideas often move in stages. First comes public conversation, then proposals, then debate. Only after that do a small number of ideas actually become law. Many proposals never make it past the discussion phase. That doesn't mean this idea is impossible, but it does mean it should not be treated as guaranteed. For seniors living on fixed income, the healthiest approach right now is to assume no additional payment is coming unless and until something is officially approved and announced. If progress does happen, it will be visible. There will be clear legislative action, widely reported votes, official statements from government agencies. You won't have to guess, you won't have to rush, and you won't have to rely on rumors. Until then, stability comes from focusing on what you already have, your current benefits, your budget, and your financial routine. Uncertainty is easier to handle when expectations are grounded. In the final part, we'll close with what truly matters most for seniors right now and how to move forward with confidence instead of worry. Clarity over hype, stability over speculation. As we close, let's return to what matters most for seniors right now: clarity and stability. The idea of a $2,000 tariff check has captured attention because it speaks to real concerns: rising costs, fixed income, and the need for relief. Those concerns are valid, but hope should never be built on uncertainty. Right now, there is no approved payment, no distribution plan, and no confirmed eligibility. What exists is discussion, not action. And that distinction protects you. It protects you from scams. It protects you from financial missteps. And it protects your peace of mind. The smartest position today is not excitement or fear, it's patience. If something becomes real, it will be announced clearly, publicly, and through official channels. You won't need to guess, rush, or respond to unsolicited messages. Until then, the most important thing seniors can do is stay grounded in what they already have: their current benefits, their monthly routines, and the stability they've worked a lifetime to build. Understanding what's real and what's not is empowering. And when you choose clarity over hype, you move forward with confidence instead of worry. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Stay informed, stay cautious, and most of all, stay steady.